My brother texted, "You're not the same investor level. We need the penthouse for the party. Stay home." My dad hearted that message. I replied by opening my laptop. At 12:01 a.m., I canceled my father's office lease. The text message from my brother Austin hit my phone at 11:51 p.m. "Kelsey, the investors for the family fund are flying in for the party Friday night. We need the penthouse. You should probably just stay at your apartment." I stared at the screen, the blue light stinging my eyes in the dark. Seconds later, a notification popped up. My father Gregory had hearted the message. I looked out the window at the Miami skyline, the lights blurring. The chill of the air conditioning on my skin suddenly felt colder. This wasn't just an ask, it was an eviction. Drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you right now. I'd love to know who's part of our community. I didn't cry. I didn't text back. Why, I didn't even feel angry. I just felt clear. It was 11:52 p.m. I got out of bed, walked to my desk and opened my laptop. The glow of the login screen lit up my face. They had made a business decision. So would I. I logged into the admin portal for Aperture Holdings, LLC. It was the shell company I'd formed 6 months ago when I sold my first small app in a quiet buyout. That $160,000 bonus, the one I never told them about, was sitting in an Aperture business account. For years I had been the silent, invisible support system for my family's grand legacy. I had been paying the bills for my father's new Gregory Fund, venture convinced I was helping him rebuild. At 12:01 a.m., I opened the billing section for the commercial lease on his Gregory Fund office. I was the guarantor. My LLC was the payment source. I found the automatic payment toggle, and I clicked cancel. A confirmation box popped up. "Are you sure? This will terminate the agreement." I clicked confirm. At 12:02 a.m., I logged into the family's premium cloud storage account. It was the one holding 30 years of Harper family history, all their photos, their legal documents, their precious memories. It was billed monthly to my Aperture Holdings credit card. Cancel subscription. At 12:03 a.m., I opened the subscription management portal for the high-level investment software. Gregory used the one he claimed was essential for managing his fund, another monthly charge. Terminate. The premium newsletter subscriptions, the private financial journals, all of it funneled through Aperture Holdings. Cancel, cancel, cancel. By 12:05 a.m., I had severed every financial tie. I had turned off the life support. I closed my laptop. This wasn't revenge. It was accounting. You have to understand I didn't do it out of anger. I did it out of clarity. For my entire life, I was the silent investor in my own family. I was the responsible one, the quiet one, the one who went into tech and made her own money, while all the family hopes and all the family money were poured into my brother Austin. He was the golden child, the one who was supposed to revive the Harper family legacy. My father Gregory was obsessed with it. He saw Austin as his successor. But Austin's big startup failed. It failed spectacularly, leaving my father on the edge of financial ruin and social humiliation. That's when I stepped in. I had just gotten my first major payout, a $160,000 bonus for an app I'd developed. I took that money and I bought the Skyline Key. It was a stunning penthouse in Brickell with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the bay. It was the perfect symbol of success, and I bought it under my company Aperture Holdings, LLC, so it was anonymous. I didn't move in. I let my father use it. I let him host his important meetings there, let him bring investors to the space, let him pretend it was a sign that the Gregory Fund was thriving. I let them all use it to save face. I paid for his new office lease. I paid for his financial software. I paid for everything quietly from the shadows because I was the silent investor. I was the good daughter. I told myself I was protecting the family. But the truth, I was hoping that if I saved them, if I funded their entire illusion of success, maybe, just maybe, they would finally see me. Module 2, start. You're probably asking, Kelsey, why? Why would you do that? Why would you pay for the very stage they used to ignore you on? It's a fair question. And for a long time, I didn't know the answer. I just knew I couldn't stop. But when you grow up in an environment where love is conditional, where you are constantly auditioning for the role of daughter, you learn that your only value is your utility. You become the fixer, the responsible one, the one who makes things work. It's an invisible chain. You're not staying because you're weak. You're staying because you've been trained to believe that your sacrifice is the only thing holding the family together. You become a hostage to the hope that one day they will finally turn to you, see you, and say, "Thank you. We couldn't have done it without you." It's a prison without bars. You're not addicted to the pain. You're addicted to the hope that the pain will finally be worth it. But that day never comes. They just keep taking, and you just keep giving until a text message at 11:51 p.m. finally shows you that the door to your prison has been open the whole time. I woke up at 7 a.m. to the sound of my phone vibrating on the nightstand. It hadn't stopped. For a second, I felt that old familiar pang of guilt. Maybe I'd gone too far. Maybe they were calling to apologize. I picked up the phone. The screen was a wall of notifications, but none of them were apologies. They were attacks. The first was a text from my brother Austin sent at 8:01 a.m. "You're overreacting, Kelsey. Dad's just stressed about the investors. Just turn the accounts back on. You're making this a bigger deal than it is." He didn't get it. He never would. To him, my money was just a utility, like the water or the power, something that should just be there. Then a voicemail from my mother, Patricia. Her voice wasn't angry. It was trembling, theatrical, the one she used when she was playing the victim. "Kelsey, I just got a call from the leasing office. I don't know what you've done, but you've created a terrible mess. You're embarrassing your father. You're putting this whole family at risk. You need to call us and you need to fix this immediately. Fix this. Not fix us or fix what we did. Fix this. Fix the consequences." But the final move, the one that erased any doubt, came from my father. He didn't call. He didn't text. He posted. He went on LinkedIn, his professional network, and posted a vague, passive-aggressive status update. True loyalty is tested in difficult times. It's sad when you realize some people forget the roots that nurtured them, the family that gave them their start. Success means nothing without gratitude. I read it 3 times. He wasn't sorry. He was rebranding his betrayal as my ingratitude. They weren't shocked by what they had done. They were shocked that I had finally stopped playing along. They hadn't just kicked me out of the party. They were now trying to gaslight me into paying for it. That was it. That was the confirmation I needed. My anger wasn't loud this time. It was clinical. This wasn't a family dispute anymore. They had made it a business matter. Fine. I'd treat it like one. I realized they thought this was just an emotional outburst. They thought I was being dramatic. They were waiting for me to cry, to get tired, and then to quietly turn the money back on. They were still seeing me as a daughter. They had forgotten I was a founder. So I picked up my phone, but I didn't call them. I called Julian. Julian and I had been friends since college. We'd spent late nights in the library, him studying for the bar me coding my first app. Now he was one of the sharpest intellectual property and real estate lawyers in Miami. He knew all about Aperture Holdings. He'd helped me draft the incorporation papers. Julian, I said, my voice perfectly level. I have a situation. I explained the text. The penthouse. The LinkedIn post. There was a pause on his end. Kels, this is... Wow. What do you want to do? They think this is a family drama, I said. I need you to make it a business dispute. They only respect leverage. It's time we show them what that actually looks like. I could almost hear him smile. Say no more. Aperture Holdings, LLC versus the Gregory Fund. I like it. He didn't waste time. He was a professional. Within 2 hours, an email landed in my inbox. He'd CC'd me on the official correspondence. The email wasn't from Kelsey. It was from Julian's law firm formally representing Aperture Holdings, LLC. It was addressed to Mr. Gregory Harper, acting manager of the Gregory Fund. The tone was ice. Dear Mr. Harper, this letter serves as formal notice that the Gregory Fund is in material breach of its lease agreement with Aperture Holdings, LLC for the office space at 1400 Brickell Avenue due to non-payment. Julian had attached a copy of the lease agreement, the one I'd guaranteed. We hereby give you 30 days to cure this default, or Aperture Holdings will move to terminate the lease and pursue all available legal remedies, including immediate eviction and seizure of assets to cover the outstanding balance. But he wasn't done. He'd attached a second document, a formal cease and desist. Furthermore, we demand you immediately cease and desist from using any and all communication channels associated with Aperture Holdings, LLC, or its principal, Miss Kelsey, for personal matters. Any further attempts to harass, intimidate, or solicit funds outside of this formal channel will be met with further legal action. This wasn't an emotional text message. This was a legal declaration of war. I forwarded a copy of the email to my mother, my father, and my brother. No caption. No explanation. Let's see them heart that. It was 2 days before the party. I was in the penthouse deep in code when a chime I'd never heard before echoed from my main console. I looked up. A red banner was flashing across my security monitor. Unauthorized access attempt penthouse lobby. I pulled up the live feed, and there they were. My father Gregory looking furious. My mother Patricia clutching her pearls looking terrified. My brother Austin shifting nervously from foot to foot. They weren't alone. With them was a man in a stiff, ill-fitting building management polo shirt holding a heavy toolbox. I knew the actual building manager. That wasn't him. My intercom buzzed. I pressed answer, but kept my mic muted. Gregory's face, distorted by the fisheye lens, filled my screen. Kelsey, open this door. Now. I just watched. His eyes darted around, looking for other cameras. Kelsey, we have an emergency. Building management says there's a severe water leak originating from your unit. You're flooding the penthouse below. They have to get in. A water leak. A classic clumsy lie. I watched my father nod to the fake maintenance man. The man stepped forward, holding a crumpled piece of paper up to the scanner. It was a Miami-Dade emergency work order. At the bottom, I could see a forged signature. My signature. Gregory was still talking. See? We have authorization. The manager gave it to us. Now open the door before you cause more damage." I did nothing. I just watched. "Fine," Gregory snapped. "We'll do this the hard way." He nodded to the locksmith. The man set his toolbox down and pulled out a high-intensity scanner. He pressed it against my biometric keypad, trying to clone the signal, trying to force the lock. He had no idea what he had just done. The second his device made contact, my entire security interface changed. The red banner was replaced by a single flashing alert: "Coercive access attempt detected." This wasn't a standard alarm system. It was an enterprise-level AI security protocol. They hadn't just rung the doorbell. They had breached the firewall. I watched mesmerized as the system I had helped design executed its non-negotiable protocol. Internal divided by external mics activated, all cameras recording. Audio divided by video stream engaged. A small icon appeared showing the AI was performing a high-resolution scan of the fraudulent work order Gregory was still holding, cross-referencing my signature with the one on file. Signature mismatch. Forgery detected. Document flagged as criminal evidence. Then the final step. Encrypted alert packet initiated, sending live feed audio and forged documentation. I watched the recipient list populate. To Julian, legal counsel. To Director Evans, head of building security. They hadn't just tried to break into my home. They had just live-streamed a felony directly to my lawyer. I leaned back in my chair. I didn't have to call anyone. I didn't have to do anything. The AI had already called for backup. All I had to do was wait for them to arrive. It took less than 5 minutes. The elevator dinged. I watched on my monitor as the real building security director, a man I knew, a former detective named Evans, stepped out, followed by Julian, who looked calm, collected, and absolutely furious. They walked calmly down the hall to my apartment. I watched them stop. I watched them take in the scene. My father, Gregory, holding a fraudulent work order. My mother, Patricia, looking terrified. My brother, Austin, looking guilty. And a hired locksmith actively attempting to drill out my biometric lock. The locksmith was the first to realize he was caught. He dropped his drill as if it were electric and immediately put his hands up. "Hey, I'm just doing my job. I got a work order right here." Julian didn't even look at him. He looked at my father. "That work order is a forgery, Gregory. You're committing conspiracy to commit fraud breaking and entering and trespassing." Patricia just burst into tears. It was always her default. "We just wanted to have the party," she sobbed. "We just wanted to use the penthouse." Director Evans didn't say a word. He just pulled out his radio and spoke into it. "This is Director Evans. I need Miami-Dade dispatched to the penthouse level. We have a 454 inches progress. Yes, trespassing and criminal mischief. Sending the evidence packet now." My father's face went white. Police. Real police. The investors he was trying to impress. They would hear about this. My phone rang. My mother. I picked it up. "Kelsey, thank God. You have to stop this. Tell them to leave. You're ruining your father. You're destroying this family. Please, Kelsey, do something. Do something for your family." I stood up. I walked to the front door, the heavy solid wood door they were trying to drill through. I deactivated the lock from my side. I pulled it open. They all stared at me. My mother still on the phone, her face a mask of desperate, tear-streaked hope. My father looking defeated. Julian and the security team watching me. I looked at my mother. "You asked me to do something for my family. I said, my voice quiet. I already did. I held out the legal papers. The restraining order. She stared at it uncomprehending. Goodbye, Mom. I closed the door. I engaged the deadbolt. And I let the sound of the police arriving in the hallway be the last sound I ever heard from them. The aftermath was fast. This wasn't family drama anymore. It was a criminal case. Gregory and Austin were charged with conspiracy to commit fraud and attempted breaking and entering. The locksmith, faced with his own charges, testified against them, confirming Gregory had hired him under false pretenses and provided the forged work order. The moment the charges were filed, Julian's firm, as required by law, sent the official police report and the AI security footage to the entire investor list for the Gregory Fund. The fund didn't just fail, it evaporated in a single afternoon. The investors pulled out furious at the liability and the public humiliation. My father's world collapsed. Module 1, Start. There's a reason his world shattered so quickly. My father's power was always an illusion. It was based on having, not being. He had a reputation. He had connections. He had the appearance of wealth. But it was all a performance, a thin veneer rented with other people's money and status. My power was different. It was based on being. I was the one who owned the asset. I was the one with the legal structure. I was the one who controlled the technology. His power was a house of cards. Mine was a vault. And when the two collided, the illusion didn't stand a chance. The family lost everything. The house went into foreclosure. The cars were repossessed. Gregory and Patricia moved into a small rental apartment, their social status erased. A few months later, I sold the penthouse. I took my original $160,000 plus the profit from the sale, and I dissolved Aperture Holdings. In its place, I founded Skyline Labs, my real name, my real company. I used the funds to create a micro-grant program for other female tech founders, the other black sheep, the ones with brilliant ideas who just needed someone to see them. My first investment was in a young woman developing a new AI-based security system. I looked around my new, smaller office. No penthouse views, just a whiteboard covered in ideas, and for the first time I felt truly rich. I had something real. If you've ever felt like you were on the outside of your own life, this video is for you. If you've ever been made to feel less than, so someone else could feel more than. If you've ever been the one expected to be grateful for scraps while someone else was handed the world, I want to tell you something. You are not the problem. You are not too sensitive. And you are not difficult. You are the one who sees the truth. Your value isn't determined by their inability to see it. Your worth is not a negotiation. Stop waiting for them to invite you to the party. Go build your own. Build it so strong that it has biometric locks. Build it so smart that it has its own AI. Build it so high that the only way they can reach you is to watch you succeed.